Alright everyone, welcome back. It is now November 11th of 2023, and as you all witnessed with South Park joining the Panderverse, which by the way has been very much and wildly successful for Paramount Plus, as well as Trey Parker and Matt Stone, South Park Studios, for really calling out the current status of Disney and what Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy have done to multiple franchises, mind you. Things out there like Marvel, Star Wars, and if you really want to count Willow as well, you know, we all know that at the very core of Disney, those are the two individuals that are really part of the problem. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, we know that Disney has two very big problems on their end. They are dealing with South Park and their continued use of parody to call out their failing business month by month and exactly what's been going on with that. They also have the Daily Wire, really using their platform to create their own iteration of Snow White, featuring Brett Cooper as the lead. Now, to top things all off, we know that Trey Parker and Matt Stone, these guys are very busy. They are developing many episodes as we speak, many different events for 2024 and beyond, in order to not only continue the Panderverse storyline, but to also create separate brand new events that's going to acknowledge things that are happening in the world today. Now, this is where things get really intriguing that has a lot to do with the Panderverse sequel/follow-up that is not going to be called Panderverse Part 2. We talked about this 2 days ago. It's going to have a brand new title, but it will actually continue that storyline. Now, with of course both South Park Studios and Paramount preparing to gear up for their plans in 2024, one major development has to do with how they are striking back at Disney right now after they caused so much trouble behind the scenes. As it turns out, behind closed doors, one major event that is being developed by both Trey Parker and Matt Stone is that their new event is planned to mock Bob Iger even further and harder. This is strategy, of course, that was recently greenlit at Paramount, where one part of the Panderverse follow-up that will be considered Bob Iger focused just as much as Kathleen Kennedy is, that this event follow-up will be mocking the failure of Disney and the Disney stock once again, and that their stock hitting a big low is going to be a large focus on the upcoming event by Paramount for 2024. As it turns out, to make this even more legendary, the reason why South Park is striking back at Disney is due mostly to the fact that they have been causing more issues behind the scenes, with unnecessary meetings about themselves trying to find a legal route to take action against the studios of South Park. This follow-up event will not only focus on the failure of Disney stock, but the pitch made by Parker and Stone that was quickly accepted by Paramount was how there will be a quest made by Bob Iger to find a way to bring the Disney stock back up. Both Trey and Matt, however, are basing this off of the events of this year and next, as long as the stock is still a struggle for Disney as it is. This was all made public to the heads over at Disney by Paramount to give them a heads up that they will be creating a parody of their situation and reassuring them that it is planned to be in the form of parody. Now guys, let me just say one thing about that. Now, if I were Paramount, if I were South Park Studios, I would not even give Disney a heads up, but I could see why they're doing that. They're kind of just wanting to do that to kind of shove it in their face and to say, look, listen, we're doing this, it's a parody, so don't get too overdramatic or don't overreact once we drop this thing next year, okay? That's basically what they're doing, so to speak. They're not doing this to be genuine and nice to Disney. They're just saying this to kind of like cement themselves in that what they are doing is 100% legal. Now, we know that Disney really is very desperate at this point. There's a lot of Disney executives, Kathleen Kennedy, the Lucasfilm leadership team, that is very much angered with what Panderverse did to Disney by calling them out to millions upon millions of people. I mean, this event on its own was really one of the most successful ones since Streaming Wars, if not better. In fact, I think that Panderverse was better than Streaming Wars Part 2. That's just my take on things. I don't know about you guys out there, but I think that Trey and Matt really knocked it out of the park, and they did a fantastic job on properly and accurately portraying Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy the way that they should have been portrayed. Now sure, some people would argue that they went a little easy, or did go very easy on Kathleen Kennedy in the end, but we gotta remember that for the most part they did send the message correctly, especially through Cartman Kennedy, who is also the pure representation of what Kathleen Kennedy is basically over at Lucasfilm. So, in addition to that, alright, Mr. Mouse is set to return, voiced by Trey Parker, and the center of the Panderverse sequel is that part of the story will actually revolve around Mr. Mouse destroying franchises like Indiana Jones, Marvel, and Star Wars. Even Willow has been discussed by the creators of South Park to get thrown in as a parody. But the best of all of this, of course, the best thing about all of that is that Parker and Stone already have deep plans that were heavily discussed at the studios to bring back both George Lucas and Steven Spielberg into the mix for this upcoming parody event. The plan by Trey and Matt is to create some form of rivalry between George and Mr. Mouse within this actual event to cater to the Star Wars fanbase, who has been very let down over what Disney has done in recent years. Something that they feel is going to be a big hit for Paramount Plus by 2024. Even a theatrical South Park film for 2025 is still in the talks right now to continue elements of the Panderverse to continue mocking Disney at its finest. Now, South Park is planning to make a big announcement for this follow-up by January of next year to build up the hype for its core fan base that has been following them for years. So, what I like so much about this and what's been brewing over at South Park Studios and Paramount is that they are going to continue to double down on mocking and calling out Disney, creating a parody of them, and those that are affiliated with the company. Those like Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy, and even those, that really got betrayed, like George Lucas, are going to be the center of this follow-up. And we have not seen George or Steven Spielberg in a South Park episode in a very long time. And I'm very much excited to see how that's going to be pretty much presented. The core idea that was accepted and greenlit is that there will be some kind of a rivalry between Mr. Mouse and George Lucas. Because look, face it, we all know that George is unhappy with Disney. He has made this openly public and vivid to everybody around the world that he does not agree with everything that Disney has done over the past, couple of years. Definitely, at least. So, at the same exact time, I think that the continued use of mocking Disney, it's going to make them more and more desperate. It's also going to reach out to more people that may not be aware about all this Disney drama and everything that has been happening with Kathleen Kennedy. What's crazy is that a lot of you guys were coming to me saying you never knew about Kathleen Kennedy until South Park. And if you guys are watching right now, any of you that never knew Kathleen Kennedy, sound off in the comments below. And if you learned about her through South Park, let me know. A lot of people are beginning to say that, and that is something that they are very alarmed about. So overall, I would really love to hear what you all have to say about this ongoing drama between South Park Studios, Paramount, and Disney. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.